LPBW Tori Roloff teases TV return, desperate for cash dear loves. Welcome to TLC Drama. Please do subscribe my YouTube channel. Little People Big World celeb Tori Roloff recently teased a return to television. Are she and Zach Roloff desperate for cash without the TLC paychecks coming in? What do we know so far for Zach Roloff and Tori Roloff? They made a huge decision to quit Little People Big World after season 25. Zach was clearly still bitter over the botched Roloff Farms deal, and many viewers suspected that at least part of the reason that they quit was to get back at Matt Roloff. As Little People Big World fans know, this ended up being the catalyst that led to the show's cancellation after 25 seasons. Even though Matt Roloff would have loved to continue filming, he was the only family member who wanted things to continue, and, without Zach and Tori's children as part of future storylines, there was not much to work with once they decided to quit. Since quitting Little People Big World after season 25, Zach Roloff and Tori Roloff have been working on their podcast, Raising Heights. While there was some interest in it at the start, many show fans have called out the husband and wife for being boring and recycling subjects. In some episodes for the podcast, Zach Roloff and Tori Roloff have let their 3 children take over. As much as viewers do love Jackson, Lila, and Josiah, many Little People Big World fans called the husband and wife out for obvious filler for the sake of content. So, while people do still tune in, this new podcast venture has received its fair share of hate as well. Based on the latest Little People Big World updates, Tori Roloff recently hinted at a possible return to TV. Tori recently did a Q&A session on social media, which she regularly does. It's a way to keep in touch with fans and keep them updated on a more personal level. When Little People Big World fans asked about a possible return to TV, Tori Roloff said, "We have said if it was just our family we'd consider it. However, we really don't think we're interesting enough to carry a show on our own." Tori went on to add, "If we ever filmed again, we would want to circle back to what LPBW originated as, an educational show that taught people about dwarfism. Not a relationship show." While some Little People Big World fans are excited about the possibility of Tori Roloff and her family being open to returning to TV, others think that things with their podcast haven't worked out like they hoped it would, and they could be desperate for another paycheck. Would you want to see Tori Roloff and Zach Roloff return to television with their family? Let us know in the comments below. T.S. No secret that a rift has formed between Matt Roloff and his adult kids. TLC viewers who tune into Little People Big World have gotten a front row seat to the ongoing family drama. But recently, Zach Roloff offered an update on the relationship with his dad. On the May 23 episode of Zach and his wife Tori's podcast, Raising Heights, the father of 3 opened up about how things are going with his father. Cynthia Bailey reveals her thoughts on Kenya Moore's exit from Real Housewives of Atlanta. Cynthia Bailey reveals her thoughts on Kenya Moore's exit from Real Housewives of Atlanta. How is your relationship with your dad? Tori asked, reading a fan-submitted question. He continued, "The filming ended, and you just kind of give yourself some space. But then the show airs 6 months later. It kind of brings up some old wounds." Tori explained that some viewers don't realize that episodes sometimes air nearly 1 year after filming. "And so it's like a lot of this dust has actually settled," she said. "And it's just recently that it's brought back up." Zach added, "The dust has settled, but nothing has been fixed or anything. And stuff comes out on social media, and you realize that, people are thinking the same thing." On LPBW, Zach's mom, Amy Roloff, sold her half of Roloff Farms to her ex-husband. Instead of giving a portion of the property or selling it at a reduced price to any of his children, Matt looked into listing the property before turning the big house into a short-term rental. Hard feelings were compounded by distance after Zach and Tori moved out of state with their children. "I think you always hope and pray for reconciliation and that relationship will be healed," Tori said in the podcast. Tori also cleared up a misconception that she and Zach are withholding their children from seeing certain family members. "There's none of that going on," she said. "That's all just internet drama. Adult relationships are very complicated, unfortunately, especially family." Little People, Big World star Matt Roloff shared his take on whether or not the series has finally come to an end. Matt and his ex-wife, Amy Roloff, have been a part of Little People, Big World for the better part of the last 2 decades, sharing their lives and along with their children on screen for viewers. While the initial ploy of the series was to show viewers how the family's struggles with dwarfism shaped their lives, the drama intensified between the Roloffs as Matt and Amy's marriage struggled while their 4 children grew up and left the nest. In a Facebook post, Matt shared why he believes Little People, Big World's network has yet to announce whether the show is over or not, despite it seeming to have ended with the most recent season finale. Nobody really knows at this point if the last episode was the series finale, Matt shared on Facebook. He explained that contractually, the series has run from a season-to-season contract for the last several years, so the show could be finished or come back again. "I feel very content and satisfied with the run of shows and the journey we shared," Matt explained. While Matt shared in his update about several different topics, he went into some depth about his kids, some of whom have been publicly estranged from him in the past. Jeremy, Zach, and Molly manage their own individual homes, projects and farms, Matt shared, continuing that the Roloffs' youngest son, Jacob, has returned with his family to an open canvas of opportunity. While Matt and Amy's youngest son is helping him run the family farm, Matt went on to admit that he doesn't get to see Zach and his adorable kids nearly as often as any of us would like. Although Matt's life looks very different than it did when Little People, Big World began in 2006, his relationship with his kids is likely the biggest shift he's faced. While he's been able to rebuild his life after his divorce from Amy in 2016, a decade after Little People, Big World's premiere, Matt has struggled through some serious issues with his family over the years. From his estrangement from his son, Zach Roloff, to the sale of the family farm, Matt has put his life out there for viewers but has been hard-pressed to take criticism about anything he's done. With Little People, Big World likely coming to an end after all of the Roloff children have departed from the series, it seems that Matt is aware he's moving into the next phase of his life. While he's open about the idea of returning to the series, it's clear that Matt knows that the show isn't everything. In valuing his relationships with his family and even beginning to get along with his ex-wife in new ways, Matt's post proved that he's ready to move forward after Little People, Big World, and leave the door open for returning in the future. Zach Roloff opens up about the fraught relationship with his father Matt in the Little People, Big World Season 25 finale. Zach admits that the father-son relationship with Matt has changed, but he hopes for some healing in the future. Despite his upcoming Little People, Big World exit, if Zach and Matt reconcile, it could be a major development for the family and their reality show. During the Little People, Big World Season 25 finale, Zach Roloff will open up about the fraught relationship he has with Matt Roloff. The father and son have been at odds with each other for years, which reportedly stemmed from disagreements over the Roloff farm property in Oregon. Zach, his wife Tori and their kids eventually moved and settled down in Battleground, Washington. Little People, Big World Season 25 has shown the continuation of their feud, particularly in the most recent episode when Matt complained that Zach and Tori conveniently had plans on the same day as Amy Roloff's fundraiser. In the Little People, Big World Season 25 finale, Zach Roloff looks back on the tension between him and Matt Roloff, and reveals whether he holds a grudge against his father. E.T. shared a preview of the Little People, Big World Season 25 finale, in which Zach looked back on the tension between him and his father, Matt. As the clip begins, Zach can be heard via voiceover talking about growing up on the farm, with shots of Zach when he was younger showing up on the screen. Zach wants his children to be able to grow up spending a lot of time outdoors like he did. He laments the fact that their experience won't be the same as his because of that ongoing familial tension. It's at this point that Zach starts getting more specific about his dad instead of talking in generalities. He admits that no one's holding grudges against each other in the Roloff family, and no one's intentionally not going to the farm. The fact of the matter is that in his mind, there's no interest on the part of his kids to want to visit Roloff farm. His children apparently don't ask to visit, and he and Tori aren't trying to hide anything from them. Zach goes even further and admits that ship has sailed when it comes to having the same type of father-son relationship they had before. There's not much of a relationship, just doing our own thing, he adds. Zach is hopeful that there can be some sort of healing that goes on between him and Matt, but it's unlikely to happen time soon. It'll likely take time to come to an understanding with his father, but the hint of hopefulness in his comments doesn't completely close the door. Everything will be healed. It just will be different, he concludes. It's fascinating to hear Zach talk so openly about the strained relationship with his father, considering there have been times in the past when he's been very adamant about not wanting to provide a comment. For example, in an earlier Little People, Big World Season 25 episode, Matt and Karen Chandler got engaged, and Matt excitedly revealed the big news to Amy's husband, Chris Merrick. However, when Zach was asked during a confessional to give his thoughts on the engagement, Zach got really uncomfortable and said he didn't want to talk about it. Zach and Tori have already announced that they're leaving Little People, Big World after the current season comes to an end, which means any on-air storylines involving the couple will have to be told by other family members. If Matt and Zach end up reconciling, that would be a huge development that will likely be mentioned on Little People, Big World, even if Zach doesn't want to appear on camera again. Hopefully, the father and son can attempt to put the past behind them and find common ground. Matt Roloff and his son Zach Roloff have been at odds for quite a while now, and the next episode of Little People, Big World will see their feud ratchet up even more. Despite still starring on the same show together, Matt and Zach are far apart when it comes to the father-son relationship they have with each other. The tensions began when the two started having disagreements over Roloff Farm. Now their lives are even more separate from each other after Zach and Tori moved out of Oregon, which is where the property is located. Little People, Big World Season 25's next episode will show Matt and Amy Roloff discussing Zach and Tori Roloff's absence from the upcoming fundraiser, according to a preview clip from ET. As the teaser begins, Matt and Amy are outside chatting when the former asks his ex-wife if Zach and Tori have mentioned whether they'll be attending the big event. That's when Amy reveals that they have other plans for that weekend, so they won't be there. However, Matt doesn't hold back in exclaiming that Zach and Tori should be at the fundraiser. He even accuses them of purposefully making plans so that they wouldn't have to attend the event. "I think they made sure they had a good alibi," he claims, adding that their son and daughter-in-law should step up and support Amy and the Dwarf Athletic Association of America. Matt finds it odd that Zach and Tori were at the convention the previous year, but now they're MIA. Matt and Amy's reactions to Zach and Tori's decision not to attend the fundraiser couldn't be more different. Whereas Matt keeps saying he's disappointed, Amy is not stuck on that. Regardless of whether this latest drama is bothering her, she's not letting it show in front of other people like Matt. She even makes a point of noting that Zach already does a lot for DAAA. She would like to see them attend the event, but since they're not, we move on. Throughout the Little People, Big World preview clip, Matt keeps using the word disappointed. He says at one point during a confessional that he doesn't get upset about that kind of stuff, which is why he's instead saying he's disappointed. He seems a little more clear-headed in his confessional when he adds that everybody gets to set their own priorities in life, so he can't cry over that, and that he's sadder for Amy than for himself. However, he does note that attending the fundraiser would be very beneficial to Zach and his children Jackson, Lila, and Josiah. Matt's own words and body language reveal so much about how he's feeling right now. Despite saying he's disappointed instead of upset, most of his comments indicate that he's feeling both emotions. He can't seem to let it go that Zach and Tori won't be at the fundraiser. He does mention that he's used to keeping his distance from Zach because of their ongoing issues with each other. Zach and Tori are departing after Little People, Big World Season 25 ends, so it'll be interesting to see if they can reconcile with Matt once the couple is no longer on reality TV.